welcome to Warhammer Workshop. My name is Amy, and joining me, as always, straight from the Pariah Nexus, is JF. JF, hello.
Hello.
It's
Nothing. No, I've got nothing.
all right,
Go
cool.
on.
It's been a hot second. When last
It's-
we left, there was nothing going on.
Well, we knew that the this was a calm before the storm kind of situation,
Yeah, we did.
and now we're in the storm.
Oh boy, yeah, we are. So I am gonna say, dear listeners slash viewers, we're gonna gloss over a few things as we go here because we have a lot of ground to cover.
Right, and there's certain things that we will revisit when they are
Yeah.
actually in pre-order, but we want to at least mention them so that if you missed one of the dozen Necromunda figs that were announced in recent weeks, at least you're aware of them, and you can go check them out on the website.
Yeah. We're gonna start as we usually do with the previews that are the pre-orders that are coming up this week. And it's a big Age of Sigmar week. Last week, which I'm
Yay!
sure we'll come back to, was the 40k movement into the Arks of Omen, which we will come back to. But this week is all about Age of Sigmar. We have our new season of the General's Handbook. We have the Slaves to Darkness stuff, which was out in the big box before Christmas. But now it's all available singly, both the Battle Tome, the Vanguard, the Demon Prince.
Which is a sliver of the 40k in there. Just
Yeah.
a soupçon of the Grimdark.
Yep. The Chaos Lord on Carcadrak. That's it. It's like a drac, like a dragon, but not.
I gave up. I
Yeah.
didn't even try to pronounce it.
Yeah, Eternus Blade of the First Prince, and an Exalted Hero of Chaos, which I definitely have. I have an old one, I think, somewhere in a bin.
I think every Warhammer player is assigned an Exalted Chaos Lord
Yeah.
at some point
Yeah.
during their tenure. This is how you know you've made it into the hobby.
You've never touched chaos in your life, but somehow in your
you've never
collection.
touched chaos. You didn't pay money for
It's
it.
just
You didn't
there.
pick one up at the store. It just at one point you're rifling through your collection and there it is.
There it is. Chaos Chosen, Chaos Warriors, Chaos Knights, and the Ogroid Theridons. And some dice. Fabulous. Big week over on Sigmar.
Yes, which is I feel it's unfortunate that I am not an Age of Sigmar player. However, this will change. I did someone generously and lovingly gave me a Squigalange box, which I am going to speed run at some point. Probably I'm probably going to celebrate Hobby New Year after Adepticon and just paint the whole thing and then start pushing people to try to play with.
Over on Horus Heresy side, we have the new Horus Ascended model. Oh boy, he's real pretty. That is a lot of resin also, but he's a pretty boy.
I'm painting a resin plane right now, so you know what? As much as I love painting plastic, I do tend to once in a while renew my vows with resin, so to speak. Resin is definitely not my favorite medium, but it is second only to plastic.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's not metal. It certainly isn't the terrible resinated plastics some third-party producer uses.
Or that PVC plastic.
Yeah, or that PVC plastic or vinyl, or even 3D print resin is not awesome.
It depends because there are a lot of different kinds.
Yes. I've yet to find one that is as good as casting resin, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're constantly improving them, though. So
yeah, absolutely.
And
I mean, the point of a 3D print is that you just get what you want. You shouldn't need to convert so much. But if you do need to convert, it's not super.
Yeah. We also have the Thousand Suns and Ultramarines upgrades, which I definitely thought that we already had, but here we are.
Well, here's a question, like, are these upgrades as in the upgrades for the new Horus Heresy?
Yes, these are the Mark 6. I believe the previous ones were like Mark
Mark
IVs.
4. I just it gets
It's a
complicated.
lot.
I
I
listen.
can't.
I was at the gaming store on Saturday, I believe, Saturday or Sunday, and there were some people playing what I can only assume was Napoleonic. I don't know, some
Sure. Historical.
historical
Yeah.
thing with literally 1,000 miniature figs on each side,
Yep.
and it is the kind of thing that requires a level of historical accuracy that I don't have for Horus Heresy yet.
Yeah.
So marks of armor are something that I am conscious of, but I would fail the recognition test.
I only know 6 because it's Beaky Boys. That's literally the only part I know. And I'm fine with that. That is an acceptable amount of knowledge for me.
It's all good. Listen, the thing is, at some point through osmosis, as I play more and more Horus Heresy, I will learn them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then there's the usual offering of a smattering of Black Library books, including a very beautiful limited edition Garrow Knight of Grey book.
They've been doing some really good stuff on limited editions.
Again, another book that maybe you don't necessarily want in the background of your Zoom calls at work. It's less bad than the other ones, but it's still...
it's slimmer on skulls and summoning circles.
Yeah.
But as a published author, I look at these books and just want things like that for my own books. They are beautiful books.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely gorgeous. And that's like that's this week. All right. Like there's so much more to talk about.
Yes.
But that's
this is what's
week.
coming. Yeah, this is what's coming on pre-order today as you're listening to this, if you're listening on launch. But there is an avalanche, a squigalanche of other things to discuss.
Oh goodness, yes.
Take it away, Amy.
All right, so let's just back up for a hot second to last week, because prior to that there was a lot of made to order pre-orders that were not particularly interesting.
Well,
mostly.
I feel the made to order stuff that they release sometimes is just like, this is to pluck on the nostalgia chord, and that's hit or miss. Like,
I will
sometimes
say,
you'll see something that you just need, and
they did just announce a made to order.
Yes. Low key, that is what I was referring to. And like, it's oops, all commissars.
Yeah. Yarrick is back, or will be back, for made to order. As well as, I didn't actually click it to look, but I did see it's Severina Rain.
And I think it's worth pointing out, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not Yarrick, it's Yarricks.
Yes.
You can get yourself a 2-pack of Yarricks. A family deal, if you will.
Lord Castellan Creed, because as we know, his daughter is coming back for the Astra Militarum. Severina Rain, who I do have a bunch of classic commissars.
I missed Severina when she came out.
I have her.
We'll get one.
I have her. She's great. Beautiful model. I keep saying that's going to low-key be my Adepticon cosplay.
Yeah,
it's packable, wearable,
or something like that.
Yeah. And then a couple classic Inquisitors, which are very good.
They're very classic.
They sure are. That's what I like about the hobby, though, right? Is like, you can look at a model or a paint scheme and pinpoint it to within about 6 months of when it was made.
There is a specific date that I'm sure I'm only 2 Google searches from finding, from when bases switched from green rimmed to black rimmed the hobby.
So I did learn an interesting thing. I was watching, I think it was Peachy's new show, and I did learn that they do like they like brown bases because they're easier to Photoshop into different colors. Or gray bases, rather.
I was going to say, I would have gone for gray.
No, they do gray because then they can change them to whatever color they want. Which is
the only thing that's difficult is extremes, like a white or a black.
Yeah, which I said, I said brown because I'm looking at these 2 classic Inquisitors whose bases have clearly been Photoshopped to be brown.
I love the black rims because they vanish on the table.
Yeah. I always say it's like Kabuki theater, right? You're trained not to see the black.
exactly. That is right. The bases are Kabuki
Yes.
players.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Anyway, so Arks of Omen on the 40K side is out. Well, it'll be in people's hands this week. It was pre-ordered last week.
yes.
Um,
And again, that I think it's also coming out with the big big box of scenery.
big box of scenery.
And it's worth pointing out that that box is borderline mandatory if you want to play that first book.
If you don't have the kill team boxes, yes.
Yes. I mean, you can probably work around if you've got enough other obstacles
If you've
or
got some
other
Sigmar
walls.
walls, you're probably doing okay.
You can probably figure it out,
Yeah.
but you do need a lot of these walls. I mean, we've mentioned this that particular box is the equivalent of 2 kill teams with
Worth of
Gallo
terrain,
Dark
yeah.
scenery.
Yeah.
So it is a massive amount of terrain. I'm working on mine right now, and it is time consuming. That being said, very well worth it.
Yeah.
For if you're someone who likes to play the smaller games, if you don't want to play Kill Team or you want to move from Kill Team to 40K, you need that stepping stone.
Mm-hmm.
And combat patrols are not your thing because they're not really well balanced.
Yeah.
That is the Tetris piece that falls nicely in there. That's the long piece.
The other really nice thing about this is that it is very portable.
It's extremely portable. I'm trying to put together a small video just to show off what the terrain can and can't do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've gotten that terrain in a kill team box,
Yep.
that box is enough to put all that terrain.
Yeah.
You've got these little caps, these tiny little caps. I don't have any nearby, but actually no, I absolutely do. This is not good for audio, but for the YouTube listener, these little caps, you get about 60 of them.
Yeah.
And they're necessary to assemble and keep the
Walls together,
the terrain, like the walls
Yeah.
together. Put those in a small bag and you can just toss the rest into the box, and that's your terrain, and you can carry that anywhere.
I have a Rubbermaid double layered box that I have a zillion of them that I keep buying because they're great for holding models, and they fit perfectly in there. And yeah, you just need a little bag or container for the little caps, and you're good to go.
Exactly. It's a fabulous kit.
Mm-hmm.
Just massive. But there's a lot of guides on how to paint them quickly. Peachy that you mentioned earlier has one that is very quick, using some rust. I can never remember the name of the company.
Dirty Down.
Dirty Down Rust. Excellent product. Does an excellent job. Looks great.
They do give you a list of your suggested paint colors, which is actually really nice. I'm glad that they do that. It's also a terrain that if you're not interested in really painting, you can just spray it with silver and give it a wash, maybe dry brush, pick out some stuff. That's fine. Great, done, fabulous.
And you can just go about it slowly. Like you can play with it unpainted and painted a little bit, and it doesn't keep you from playing. So it's good stuff. Like it's honestly, I'm not kidding when I say it is probably one of Games Workshop's best kits.
Yeah, it is. Alongside the Arks of Omen Abaddon book, we also have the Arks of Omen Grand Tournament mission pack and chapter approved points adjustments.
I don't know if you've gone through the points. Not many standouts.
I went through the points enough to realize that I had to fix my 40K friendly army for Adepticon.
I don't. I'm very lucky that way.
And sadly, they gave me more points to play with, so I did instead of going. I guess I don't have to paint these guys.
Well, we had the same problem for the team tournament army that we're doing. A lot of armies seem to be getting a few more points here and there.
Yeah.
I don't think there's that many things that went up.
I don't think.
But then again, it's
I don't know.
Really hard.
It's hard to tell everything.
But one of the things that's really nice about that point increase, though, is that everything that's a change in point is now in red.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier to go spot the changes for your various units.
Right.
And
Which is, it makes sense. That's how they do, the FAQs and all that stuff. So yes.
I mean,
Thank
I'm
you.
glad they went for red and not for fuchsia or cyan.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah.
It works. It's perfect.
We also
The
had. Oh, go ahead.
sorry, I was just gonna point out also in that book we get a new, and we'll probably go into more detail on a different show about this,
Mm-hmm.
but we do get a new org chart for
Yeah.
a detachment,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very much just a universal detachment, which kind of feels like Games Workshop dragging the other detachment options behind the shed to shoot them in the back of the head. And I'm not against it.
Yeah.
Detachment creep is a little problematic sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and in that there's also a new tactic, I believe, where you can buy an exemption to some of the limits of that detachment.
Yeah.
So say you have a rule. I'll have to double check if it's just things to add to detachment, but I think it also includes rules such as like if you can only have one of this unit, well now you can have two.
Gotcha.
Probably doesn't work for named characters, but
Yeah.
anyways, just to say that it is a detachment and extra rules that adds a lot of flexibility while removing extraneous options, and I am here for it.
Mm-hmm. We also got all of those Space Marine Battle Force boxes. Traditionally a Christmas offering, but here we are.
I mean, we didn't go hungry for Christmas offerings.
No, we didn't.
Year.
But we had because they when they announced these, you and I had speculated or at least questioned if this was like, did something happen? Was there a reason they didn't put these out? And then there were two of the ones at Christmas. One of the ones at Christmas was a different, but one of them had a different box.
Two of them, both of them, the two Space Marine ones had a different box design, which was very strange.
Right.
And also, I'm trying to remember, but I don't think they contained the same like unique special named character that all the other boxes had.
Right.
So that made him stand apart, and obviously something had gone wrong, and now I guess we know.
Well, yeah, because then, as we'll talk about here, because as you're moving into Arks of Omen, the standard sort of mix and match, well, not the mix and match boxes, but you may not want a combat patrol box for your Arks of Omen game because it's not really built for that. So we've just gotten announced that they are doing 2 boarding patrols and another battle force. What is happening?
We're just gonna get battle forces all year round, and that's fine as long as we get around to getting some Tyranids.
Yeah, if they could release some in like May, when I'm starting to think about a new army, that would be terrific.
Something in April would be nice.
Yeah, April.
Just saying, mostly because it's after Adepticon, and I get some free time back on my hands.
Or maybe like March, so that we can think about them. Be ready.
Yeah, if we need any third party things that we can buy at Adepticon, we'll already be planning for it.
Exactly.
No, I mean it's interesting that they are doing this. However, those boarding patrols are absurd. The Space Marine one seems fine, but immediately you have a Chaos boarding patrol that has Abaddon in it. Awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean it is his book.
Yes. But here's the thing. In Arks of Omen Abaddon, you get the 500-point boarding patrol rules that make it very clear that you cannot have an Abaddon. So yes, the book is named after him because the excellent fluff, by the way, is revolves around him and his relationship with Vashtor.
Vashtor.
The Archifane. And this is all great, but the 500 points that you get to play with, you can't have more than one character. There's a limit. You know what? I say you can't take him, but I am no longer sure that you can't take him. I know you can only take one character. I'm pretty sure there is a wound limit. I'm not sure if Abaddon constitutes an HQ choice or is he a Lord of War?
Okay, so it does say that there's an asterisk on this Warhammer community article that does say out of the box, this collection has a few too many points for a single boarding action force, but that just gives you more options to play around. So you can't put everything in the box, but that doesn't mean you can't bring.
It's
Abaddon.
Listen, I'm not saying that you shouldn't get the box, because I am confident that from that box you could
It's a
get what
pretty
you
great
need.
box.
I'm just not sure you can bring Abaddon to the boarding patrol.
You could just put him there though, like just walk him around.
Just in the back,
He's just playing,
pacing, being unhappy with the Empire.
Yeah. So you also get the Arks of Omen Balefleet Battle Force, which is another Chaos box. 10 possessed, 5 Chaos Space Marine Terminators, and a Helldrake, led by the brand new Demon Prince. That's a weird box, man.
It's an interesting box, because one of the things that we've sort of theorized about Arks of Omen Abaddon is that it is a first step. And
Yeah.
one of the things that you and I kind of daydreamed about is the idea that, okay, so the first one has boarding patrols of 500 points, and maybe the next book has some other type of rule for 1,000 points. It keeps building up over the 4 books until you get your all-out war scenarios up to 2,000 points. Now, what this box kind of suggests is that maybe that is the case. Maybe after a few of these Arks of Omen books, you get to have flyers again. You get to have tanks and monsters again. And I mean, otherwise, if that's not the case, and in the next 3 books we don't get the options to have these things, that Helldrake is also decoration.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
like
you
the
can still play
Helldrake,
it in
especially.
normal 40k. It's
Yeah.
just,
but it does specifically say Arks of Omen,
yeah, it would be
which I know is like the
misleading.
season name, I guess, but it's
True.
weird. It'd be weird.
Listen, I'm fine with it. I love the Helldrake model. I think
do
it's
too.
great. I am
One of my
100%
favorites.
in favor of seeing more flyers anyways.
Yep. Yeah. Mine is beautifully painted, and I love it.
Did you finish yours?
Almost. That's a
Okay.
lot of trim. It's just
It
an awful lot
is.
of trim.
I've
So it's
painted-
finished other than the trim.
I've painted one Helldrake for a giveaway, and it
It's
was
a
a
lot.
thing. It's
Yeah.
a thing I did.
All right. So that's where we are in the updated world of 40K and Age of Sigmar. That leaves us about 8 minutes of our show to talk about literally everything else that's happened in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, however long it's been.
I think we can very quickly mention that Necromunda is not yet, but will very soon have a bunch of new resin figs coming out. Some of the
more
I
hangers
always-
on.
hangers on. That's a good thing
yeah.
for like hired guns or whatever. One of my favorite is the Nomad Herder and Athromite Dune Scuttler, like a good puppy. Like
He's a real good boy.
he looks like a good boy. I like him. It's a cool model.
It is a very cool model.
I do like that Necromunda is really leaning into the menagerie aspect of the game. This is great.
It's making me really want to do some Necromunda for Armies on Parade.
Yes.
I'm thinking about it deeply.
Now, do you know who may be getting slightly frustrated at seeing all of these cool wee animals from Necromunda?
Is it Tyranid players?
Maybe a little. But I am thinking of the much more niche Drukhari player who really wants to Beastmasters and wants new beasts and cooler updated Beastmaster models to play with their army, because that is one
It's possible. Actually, that seems pretty likely at this point.
It would be nice if they were plastic, of course. I think these are some of the last models that the Drukhari don't have in plastic.
Yeah. No, definitely plastic, but yeah, I hadn't thought of that. I forgot about them because
listen, much like climate change and other inequalities in the world, I always have in the back of my mind the suffering Beastmaster players of the Drukhari.
Sure.
The disenfranchised of 40K.
So yeah,
no, they're cool model. Like,
very cool.
If you're, that's one of the things that they're leaning into, is being able to play with the extra details and funky poses you can get out of those resin models.
Yeah, and this one is specifically the Ash Wastes Nomads, in case we didn't say that loudly enough. But
I
yeah,
have so many of those.
I have
I
some.
could play them.
Yeah. So that's tempting.
Mm.
We also see the final of the Horus Heresy upgrade kits. We have previewed the Alpha Legion. I like them an awful lot. I say that about like a lot of them, I know, but Alpha Legion was on the list.
Did you pre-order the Night Lord ones?
No, I did
No.
not.
Oh, so you're not locked in.
I didn't know what I needed, so I didn't order. And then I gotta order so much because the shipping is a nightmare, and so I didn't get them because I'm not building them right now. I'm not. I'm terrifyingly not locked in. And Horus is coming out this week. And oh no.
I was gonna say, like, oh well, if you've pre-ordered the Night Lord helmets and shoulder pads, you're locked in. You're fine. You don't have to worry about it. But you're not.
I haven't. I'm not.
You are the rom-com single woman at the altar, having to decide between your husband to be and the guy holding a boombox at the entrance of the church.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if how many comedies I'm mixing up.
I think it's I have to decide between my high-powered executive job in the city or the man who harvests Christmas trees in a Hallmark movie.
There you go.
Yeah.
Flannels or three-piece suits.
Yeah, it's not good.
Those are your shoulder pads.
Anyway, Alpha Legion, they look pretty tight. It's very good. We also have coming up on Warhammer Plus. I'm going to jump around a lot because I have no order to any of these tabs.
It's fine. This. Listen. Clearly, just judging by some of these pre-orders, we're embracing chaos.
Yeah, we are. So they've announced the Pariah Nexus animated show, and I am very excited.
Looks good.
Yeah, it does.
I'm not sure what to expect.
No, me neither. But I'm here for it. They do still manage to show you an awful lot of Space Marines in the preview, but that's fine.
I don't think we can escape Space Marines.
No, but we also get a guardsman and a sister of battle having a nice little conversation about everything that's going on around them, which is a good time.
Duty and life.
Very excited.
I'm interesting to see where the writing goes on this.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, like obviously our 21st century sensibilities makes us side with the guardsmen about but what about like living your life?
Yeah.
But as someone who knows the setting, you kind of look at the point of view from the sister of battle and going, yes, but you don't get that life if you don't follow your duty because
everything will die.
You can look up to the sky and literally see hell.
Yeah.
There is a rip in reality visible from anywhere in the galaxy.
Yes. So yeah, I am pretty psyched about that one. There's also a they've previewed, it was like just today that they talked about it's coming out. Well, it'll be a couple days ago when this comes out, but the Catch the Squidgen, there's a G. Catch the Squidgen in the battle report, and I am not usually a battle report person. They're very well done, and I do like the way that Games Workshop does their battle reports because it's very get to the good part. But this one I'll have to watch because I do love a squig with wings. Yeah. All right. So I think finally the last thing that we'll kind of cover real quick here is that we did get at the very end of last year, we got preview videos for Horus Heresy, Age of Sigmar, and Warhammer 40,000, previewing the quote-unquote models of 2023. Not all of them, obviously. And what they did was they showed us some of the ones that we know about. Yeah. They showed us some of the ones that we know about, and then they showed us silhouettes.
And speaking of Drukhari Beastmasters...
Right? There you go.
There is a silhouette of what really looks like a Drukhari and his little birdie friend.
Yeah.
And to me, that just screams Kill Team.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen birds seem to be popular in Kill Team, so already it's a good start.
We
However,
should be
will that
due for another kill team soon, right? It's been a hot second
they
since we got the last
should be
one.
announcing it. Like, I feel that we are very close to them announcing the next Kill Team box and the next Ark of Omen book. And by I mean we already know what the next one is, but just giving us a little more of the meat
Yeah.
that's going to be
And
inside.
when we're gonna get Vashtor, because I'm very excited about
I think we're gonna get him at the same time as we get Arks of Omen Vashtor,
right, but that's
the
the next
book.
one.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I want it. I want him. He's great.
He's a cool model.
He is a cool model.
I don't. I want to have time to paint him,
Mm-hmm.
but if it's before
Properly.
Adepticon,
doesn't
I
happen.
may not. I mean, it's worth mentioning that we also have the shadow of the World Eaters looming over us
big
as far
time.
as things are coming. I mean, we already know everything that's coming for that, but the ominous silence on that front makes them feel like they're breathing down our necks.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if we hear news of that in or screams.
I mean, they did say it was the first thing for this year, right?
Well, the first thing
I mean,
this
other
year, I
than Arks
believe,
of Omen, but
I mean, we're going to get the rest of the content, the rest of the models for Imperial Guards at some point.
sure.
And once we get that, then we're going to get World Eaters. So,
Right. I'm sorry. I forgot about the guard,
he's-
everybody. I'm sorry.
I did not. I am currently painting a plane for a guard army. So, la-di-da.
Yeah.
I am one of you now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. So there's a few. It looks like Seraphon, right, on the, if memory serves, on the Sigmar side.
Looks like Seraphon. We looks like a Drukhari. There is definitely a Space Marine silhouette, but I'm unsure what weapon he's holding because it looks big and weird.
So yeah, those are always my favorite though. I love I mean, that's what we got with Vashtor for the first time, and then I lost my mind for a good 3-4 weeks about that.
You sure did.
There's one thing, and it was a wait, are these vines or cables? On one of those models that we had a conversation about.
Yes, and I
think we landed on vines. Or branches.
think we landed on vines, and that is a silhouette of what very much looks like a Tau Crisis suit holding a sword. So the internet jumped all over itself to say that it has to be Osheva. I played Tau and I can't remember his name. But yeah, that other dude. I feel terrible because I don't have that model. I've never played that faction, but I do know basically the Farsight guy.
Yeah.
From the leader of Farsight Enclave.
Yeah.
And I wish I could say no, it's going to be something else more interesting. I think they're on the money on that one.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I'd love to think that maybe they're putting out like a close combat crisis suit, and one of the build options is going to be that character. Maybe that would be interesting, but it's probably just a character.
I don't know. There's a lot of characters that are characters or another thing.
Yeah, it's just a close combat crisis suit.
Yeah,
would be cool visually, but I don't know how much it breaks the theme of the army.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. We'll see. I love these silhouette things. I love the rumor engine just because it gives us something to anticipate and theorize over. And
this week's was weird hand with a bowl with smoke coming out of it. That was good.
Yes, I theorized more Seraphon.
You did. I had originally said Lumineth Realm Lord until you pointed out that the hand was weird, and I said you're right.
Yeah,
hand is weird.
It doesn't look gloved, and it doesn't look human.
That's true.
Or elf.
Yeah. All right.
There is one more thing I'd like to discuss.
Okay.
Very briefly, the Games Workshop's half-year report came up, and obviously this is their financial report to investors, and it's because it doesn't really have any like catastrophic ups and downs. It's a very dry read.
Sure.
I'd like to point out also that for the most part, these yearly report or these half-year report there's a lot of us in the community that love to dissect these things,
Mm-hmm.
and we are going in there with a 6-year-old's understanding of brain surgery and
Sure.
making theories about what's going on.
Sure.
I've seen a lot of analysis of these reports that clearly come from a place of, I don't want to say ignorance, but clearly ignorance.
Yeah.
That being said, there is a lot of information that's kind of interesting though about when you talk about their projections, less in the numbers, not necessarily statistics to dissect, because that is where the failing usually happens, but more in what their actual intents are, like the more high level thinking, if you will.
Right.
The one thing, like a lot of this is very it's very meat and potatoes. It's exactly what we expect, like, oh, our mission is this, and we're trying to do that for our employees. They talk about a program for employees that we have no idea what it means, but I guess it's for their well-being or whatever. I don't know if it's a bonus. I don't know if it's bonuses or if it's healthcare, or I don't know, maybe they're getting $50 a year on massages. It's a lot of this is also like, yes, this is for investors, but also investors aren't entitled to 100% of the information either.
Right.
So there's a lot of vagaries in there that you I mean, if you like theorizing, you can have fun.
Yeah.
But one line in particular really kind of caught the attention of the doomsayers
Mm-hmm.
is, and I'll just quote, is basically, it says in the media section of more Warhammer more often,
Mm-hmm.
they talk about their licensing agreement for a 40K TV show, and they say,
Sure.
quote, we have not signed any contracts in the period reported. We have agreed in principle to explore opportunities to explore our IP with Amazon Studios, end quote. And obviously the outrage merchants and the
Oh
doomsayers in the
yeah.
community quickly jumped on that to put out very very quick videos about, Games Workshop lied to us, they don't have a contract with Amazon, etc., etc. And I am going to try to shed the very, very minimal light I have available
Sure.
on what this can mean from the point of view of someone who has sold IP
Yeah.
to studios.
Yeah.
And the very first thing I want to point out is that Amazon in this deal is the distributor.
Right.
They're not the production company. That is Vertigo Entertainment, who made the Lego movie and a bunch of other things.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that the production company, if let's say they don't have anything signed with Amazon, and they probably have is a, like they say, they have an agreement in principle. Basically,
Yeah.
they shook
A
hands on it,
handshake deal.
but
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. They have a handshake deal, but there's probably a lot that still needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
A situation I've been in. But the thing is, like, if it doesn't work and they're still working with Vertigo, and I mean, you got to keep in mind that they do have an A-list actor attached to this as a producer,
Mm-hmm.
and very much volunteering to be a star at the very least. They're walking in there with a very good established package. So even if they do not get to sign with Amazon Studios, they Vertigo and Henry Cavill can probably take this somewhere else.
Sure.
Now, not having signed with Amazon doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have a very strong relationship with
Right.
Amazon. The reason why nothing is signed could have to do with it could have to do with a bit of uncertainty on either party's on either side's part.
Yeah.
It could also mean that they still need more details. Like,
Right. They don't have
before
all
you
the. Well, they don't have all. They can't fill in all the blanks on the form
exactly.
contract. You know what I mean? Like they don't know.
Like,
They don't even know what the story's going to be yet.
exactly.
Yeah.
They don't know if there's this, because when they are going to sign something, they need to put some details into that contract.
Right.
And until those details are finalized to a certain degree, and that is probably including tossing in a director, or at least tossing in a direction, a showrunner.
Mm-hmm.
Is this going to be like a TV movie event? Is it going to be a limited series? Are they going to sign for multiple seasons?
Right.
There is a lot of garbage to put into that contract.
Right.
That until they can't say that they've signed. Now, to be clear, they say we have not signed any contract in the period reported.
Right.
Which could also mean we've signed since then.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying when I say shedding very little light available to me.
Does it have the dates on the top of the thing, like what the report is
and
for?
I mean, this would mean that they've signed somewhere like in January, like
right.
in the past week and a half, which, to be clear, is not impossible.
No.
It, like a lot of things, maybe the contracts were all ready to go and they just need to go through a couple of lawyers to dot some I's and cross some T's. Like, and that is my point that I'm going to. This is what I read to you was the first sentence in a 5-sentence paragraph.
Yeah.
The rest of it being boring and not very informative. And I invite you to go read it. But the point being that there is no information to decide what the relationship between Amazon Studios and Games Workshop is,
sure,
or to even cast any kind of prediction about the viability of this project.
Right.
The one thing that you can say is that there is a major studio and major production studio attached to it,
right.
also. So there's a lot going on, and also there is going to be more players that are going to attach to themselves to this.
Of
like,
course.
there's not only going to be one production studio. There's going to be there's going to be talent agencies. There's a lot that's going to go on before this means anything.
Right.
So before you get told that this is not happening because of that one line, calm down. It's cool.
It's
like,
cool.
Yes, there is a chance it won't happen.
Sure.
Things get canceled in
all
Hollywood all the time. We know that.
Yeah, we do.
But that being said, time to panic will come later. Yeah, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
So don't worry about it. The rest of the report is kind of interesting. Like, it does give you a little bit of an insight into how Games Workshop does deal with their employees and with their investors and everything. And I've read a few of these things. It's very wholesome.
Sure.
For a corporation, that is wholesome as a half-year report.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess whatever.
Perfect. So no.
And the period ended on November 22nd.
So there you go. That's before they even announced it.
Yeah. So they're there was some gray areas to play with.
There's a lot of gray areas. Almost as much gray as my pile of shame.
Ah, well, there you go. Anyways, I'm looking forward. Like, this is kind of fun for me because I've dabbled in the problems of dealing with production studios and optioned IPs and things.
Yeah.
I hate it. I'm sure Mr. Cavill has people dealing with the boring and annoying stuff for him, but he also seems
like a nitty gritty kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's just a big nerd.
Listen, I'm a big nerd.
Yeah, but you're a big nerd with a full-time job.
I'm also a big nerd who's not already a gear in the Hollywood machine.
Yeah.
So I'm coming at this from the outside. And also, I come from a management job, so I tend to know how things being run properly are. And believe you me, Hollywood is not.
It's not.
Having seen how the sausage is made a little bit, I am baffled how movies ever get made. Happy accidents. I think that's it for this should round out our return to form.
Yeah, I'm sure that we'll find other things that we forgot to talk about that we'll pick up at some point when there's
I like to think that if we didn't talk about it, it's not important anyways. And if you get your news from anywhere else and they tell you something we didn't talk about is important, you are being lied to.
In the meantime, all of our contact information is in the show information. And until next time, happy hobbying. Materials shown in this video are provided fully or in part by Games Workshop for promotional purposes. If you enjoyed this video, please consider dropping us a like and subscribing. Thanks for watching.